Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Ashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 9, the Lord incarnates as Mohini Murti. Text 14-15 onwards. So yesterday we were discussing how demons that snatched this part of nectar from Dhanvantari, but still they could not figure out. They were fighting among themselves. I'll drink first, and Lord Vishnu appeared, took the incarnation or took the form of Mohini Murti, the most beautiful woman. Of course, not as beautiful as Radharani, but so Mohini Murti came over there, and all the demons, that's all they want to somehow attract. And they got attracted by Mohini Murti, but they wanted to attract her towards themselves. So they just asked her questions, and then they gave her the part that you decide who should get it first. And Mohini Murti, of course, is Lord Vishnu himself. His illusory energy is there. And she was like, okay, if you ask me what to do it, you have to accept whatever I do. Then I'll take the responsibility. And demons were like, oh, yes, whatever you're saying is right. So let's study further. Atho poshya kritsnana utva cha havishanalam dattva govi prabhutebhya kritsvastayana dvijah yathopajosham vasansi paridhaya hatani te kusheshu pravishan sarve pragagreshva abhibhushitah. The demigods and demons then observed a fast. After bathing, they offered clarified butter and oblations into the fire and gave charity to the cows and to the Brahmins and members of the other society, namely the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, who were all rewarded as they deserved. Thereafter, the demigods and demons performed ritualistic ceremonies under the directions of the Brahmins. Then they dressed themselves with new garments according to their own choice, decorated their bodies with ornaments, and sat facing east on seats made of kusha grass. So they were like, okay, we are going to get the nectar. Let us do all auspicious things. Let's get purified, and then we are ready for the nectar. The Vedas enjoin that for every ritualistic ceremony, one must first become clean by bathing either in the water of the Ganges or Yamuna or in the sea. Then one may perform the ritualistic ceremony and offer clarified butter into the fire. In this verse, the words paridhaya ahatani are especially significant. A sannyasi or a person about to perform a ritualistic ceremony should not dress himself in clothing sewn with a needle. So that is why when we go on the altar to serve the deities, it is considered the most pure activity. So we are not supposed to have any stitches in our clothes. So we just wear dhoti without any decoration or any stitches, and then chadar and the kopin. So idea is no stitches, because that is considered clean cloth. So same thing about sannyasi. Of course, when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, and he was not only wearing sewn clothes or stitched clothes like kurta, but he was also wearing overcoat. It was so cold over there. And socks. Sannyasi, traditionally, they're not supposed to wear all this. But Prabhupada's point was because he was there to preach. And Preaching takes the precedence over everything else. So utility is a principle when preaching. We're still maintaining the standards, but this kind of standard was difficult. Prangamukheshu vishteshu sureshu ditijeshu cha dhupamoditashālayam juštayam malya deepakah tasyam narendra karbhoru rushabdukula shroni tatal la sagatir mad vihvalakshi sakujati kanaka nupura shinjitena kumbhastani kalasa kalas paniraratha vivesha. O king, as the demigods and demons sat facing east in an arena fully decorated with flower garlands and lamps and fragrant with the smoke of incense, that woman dressed in the most beautiful sari, her ankle bells tinkling, entered the arena. Walking very slowly because of her big, low hips, her eyes were restless due to youthful pride. Her breasts were like water jugs, her thighs resembled the trunks of elephants, and she carried a water pot in her hand. Tam Shri Sakhim Kanak Kundal Charu Karna Nasa Kapal Vadanam Paradevata Kyam Sambiksha Sammum Muhur Utsmit Vikshanena Devasur Vigalitas Tan Pattikantam. Her attractive nose and cheeks and her ears adorned with golden earrings made her face very beautiful. As she moved, her sari's border on her breast moved slightly aside. When the demigods and demons saw these beautiful features of Mohini Murti, who was glancing at them and slightly smiling, they were completely enchanted. As Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that here, that Mohini Murti is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a feminine form, and that the goddess of fortune is her associate. This form assumed by the personality of Godhead challenged the goddess of fortune. Just a while before, Lakshmi Ji was looking for her husband and she put the garland around Lord Narayan. And now Lord Narayan came as Mohini Murti, feminine form. So she was challenging even the beauty of goddess of fortune. The goddess of fortune is beautiful, but if the Lord accepts the form of a woman, he surpasses the goddess of fortune in beauty. It is not that the goddess of fortune, being female, is the most beautiful. The Lord is so beautiful that he can excel any beautiful goddess of fortune by assuming a female form. So there was some competition going on over there also. Asuranam sudhadanam sarpanam ev durnayam patva jati nrishamsanam natam vyabhajat achyutah. Demons are by nature crooked like snakes. Therefore, to distribute a share of nectar to them was not at all feasible, since this would be as dangerous as supplying milk to a snake. Considering this, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who never falls down, did not deliver a share of nectar to the demons. It is said the snake is very crooked and envious, so also is a person like a demon. One can bring a snake under control with mantras, herbs, and drugs, but an envious and crooked person cannot be brought under control by any means. Considering this logic, the Supreme Personality of God had thought it unwise to distribute nectar to the demons. So she did not give any single share to the demons. Kalpayitva prithak pange rubhyesham jagatpati tanshchopaveshyamasa sveshu sveshu cha panktishu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead as Mohini Murti, the Master of the universe, arranged separate lines of sitting places and seated the demigods and demons according to their positions. Datyan grihita kalaso vanchayan sancharaha durasthan payayamasa Jara Mrityu Haram Sudham. Taking the container of nectar in her hands, she first approached the demons, satisfied them with sweet words, and thus cheated them of their share of the nectar. Then she administered the nectar to the demigods who were sitting at a distant place to make them free from invalidity, old age, and death. Mohini Murti, the personality of Godhead, gave the demigods seats at a distance. Then she approached the demons and spoke with them very graciously, so that they thought themselves very fortunate to talk with her. Since Mohini Murti had seated the demigods at a distant place, the demons thought that demigods would get only a little of the nectar, and that Mohini Murti was so pleased with the demons that she would give the demons all the nectar. The word Vanchayan Upanacharya indicate that the Lord's whole policy was to cheat the demons simply by speaking sweet words. The Lord's intention was to distribute the nectar only to the demigods. So she made them made the demigods sit at a distant place. So first of all, demons would not understand what's going on, and the demons were thinking, oh, they will get the lion's share, and demigods will get only a little share. See, this beautiful pastime, we have to understand what the Lord has to do to protect his devotees. He does so many pastimes, and now he has taken the form of a female, cheating the demons just to protect his devotees. Te palayanta smayam asura swakritam dripa tushani masan krishna sneha stri vivada jugupseya. O king, since the demons had promised to accept whatever the women did, whether just or unjust, now to keep this promise, to show their equilibrium and to save themselves from fighting with the women, they remained silent. Tasyam kritati pranaya paya katara bahumanena chavadha nochu kinchan vipriyam. The demons had developed affection for Mohini Murti and a kind of faith in her, and they were afraid of disturbing their relationship. Therefore, they showed respect and honor to her words and did not say anything that might disturb their friendship with her. The demons were so captivated by the tricks and friendly words of Mohini Murti that although the demigods were served first, the demons were pacified merely by sweet words. The Lord said to the demons, the demigods are very miserly and are excessively anxious to take the nectar first. So let them have it first. Since you're not like them, you can wait a little longer. You're all heroes and so pleased with me. It is better for you to wait until the demigods drink. So this Maya was working so strongly on demons, they could not figure out what was going on. Devaling pratichanna swarbhanur deva samsadi pravishta somam apibachandrar karbhyam kabhyam cha suchita arkabhyam cha suchita. Rahu, the demon who causes eclipses of the sun and moon, covered himself with the dress of a demigod and thus entered the assembly of the demigods and drank nectar without being detected by anyone, even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moon and the sun, however, because of permanent animosity towards Rahu, understood the situation. Thus, Rahu was detected. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mohini Murti, was able to bewilder all the demons, but Rahu was so clever that he was not bewildered. Rahu could understand that Mohini Murti was cheating the demons, and therefore he changed his dress, disguised himself as a demigod, and sat down in the assembly of the demigods. Here one may ask, why the Supreme Personality of Godhead could not detect Rahu? The reason is that the Lord wanted to show the effects of drinking nectar. This will be revealed in the following verses. The moon and sun, however, were always alert in regard to Rahu. Thus, when Rahu entered the assembly of the demigods, the moon and sun immediately detected him. And then the Supreme Personality of Godhead also became aware of him. So the Lord knows everything, but he just wanted to go with the pastime. Chakrena Kshurudharena Jahara Pibata Shira Aristasya Kabandhastu Sudhya Plavito Apatat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, using his disc, which was sharp like a razor, at once cut off Rahu's head. When Rahu's head was severed from his body, the body being untouched by the nectar could not survive. When the personality of Godhead, Mohini Murti, severed Rahu's head from his body, the head remained alive, although the body died. Rahu had been drinking nectar through his mouth, and before the nectar entered his body, his head was cut off. Thus, Rahu's head remained alive, whereas the body died. This wonderful act performed by the Lord was meant to show that nectar is miraculous ambrosia. So, with this Sudarshan Chakra, the Lord cut off Rahu's head, and his head remained alive, but the body died because the nectar had gone to his mouth. Shirastvamaratam nitam ajo griham achiklapat yastu parvani chandrarka arkavavidhavati varadhi. Rahu's head, however, having been touched by the nectar, became immortal. Thus, Lord Brahma accepted Rahu's head as one of the planets. Since Rahu is an eternal enemy of the sun and the moon, he always tries to attack them on the nights of the full moon and the dark moon. Since Rahu had become immortal, Lord Brahma accepted him as one of the grihas of planets, like the moon and the sun. Rahu, however, being an eternal enemy of the moon and sun, attacks them periodically during the nights of the full moon and the dark moon. So the lunar eclipse happens on full moon, day or night, and solar eclipse happens on dark moon. So what happens is during this eclipse, so Rahu attacks moon. So he has been given special powers by Lord Brahma that he would be able to eat moon. So when he attacks moon, that is called the Sutak period. And when he eats moon, or moon goes inside Rahu's mouth, that is eclipse. But there is no body for Rahu. So moon goes into the mouth of the Rahu and comes out through his throat. So that period is one Muhurat, 48 minutes. So actual eclipse is for 48 minutes. The rest is only Sutak, before and after. And same thing with the sun. So it's just beautiful arrangements by the Lord. Pita praye amrite dever bhagwan lok bhavana pashyatama surendranam swam jagrihe hari. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best friend and well-wisher of the three worlds. Thus, when the demigods had almost finished drinking the nectar, the Lord, in the presence of all the demons, disclosed his original form. Evam surasur gana samadesh kala hetvarth karma matyo api phale vikalpaha tatramritam surgana phala manjasapur yat pad pankaj rajah shrayanana datyaha. The place, the time, the cause, the purpose, the activities, and the ambitions were all the same for both the demigods and the demons. But the demigods achieved one result and the demons another. because the demigods are always under the shelter of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet. They could very easily drink the nectar and get its result. The demons, however, not having sought shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, were unable to achieve the result they desired. Not just desired, and they worked so hard for, but they did not get the result. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a supreme judge who rewards or punishes different persons according to their surrender unto his lotus feet. Therefore, it can actually be seen that although karmis and bhaktas may work in the same place at the same time with the same energy and with the same ambition, they achieve different results. The karmis transmigrate through different bodies in the cycle of birth and death, sometimes going upward and sometimes downward, thus suffering the results of their actions in the karma chakra, the cycle of birth and death. The devotees, however, because of fully surrendering at the lotus feet of the Lord, are never baffled in their attempts. Although externally they work almost like the karmis, the devotees go back home, back to Godhead, and achieve success in every effort. The demons or atheists have faith in their own endeavors, but although they work very hard day and night, they cannot get any more than their destiny. The devotees, however, can surpass the reactions of karma and achieve wonderful results even without effort. So all the time we get scared that Lord is called Hari and he's going to take away everything, all the opulence the devotee has. But here Prabhupada is saying the devotees, however, can surpass the reactions of karma and achieve wonderful results. So everything is in the hands of the Lord, especially for the devotees. How much they will get, what will they get, when they will get, where they'll get, it's all up to him. They can get more than their karma allows. They can get less. They can get equal. They can get nothing. It's all up to the Lord, depending upon how attached the devotee might get to the opulence once he has it, and if he is still going to perform his devotional service. And the independence is still there. And if the devotee gets too attached to the opulence, then the Lord can remove it also. What's so difficult for him? It is also said, Phalena parijiyate. Once a success or defeat in any activity is understood by its result. There are many karmis in the dress of devotees, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can detect their purpose. The karmis want to use the property of the Lord for their selfish sense gratification, but the devotee endeavors to use the Lord's property for God's service. Therefore, a devotee is always distinct from the karmis. Although the karmis may dress like devotees, same dhoti, kurta, tilak, kanthi mala, bead bag, everything is there. But the Lord knows what this guy wants. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyarthat Karmano Anyatra, one who works for the Lord is free from this material world. And after giving up his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. A karmi, however, although externally working like a devotee, is entangled in his non-devotional activity. And thus he suffers the tribulations of material existence. Thus, from the results achieved by the karmis and devotees, one can understand the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who acts differently for the karmis and jnanis than for the devotees. So he's not same with everybody. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. He says, I'm neutral, I'm equal with all, but my devotees are different. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkamate Vasham. The karmis who desire sense gratification, the jnanis who aspire for the liberation of merging into the existence of the Supreme, and the yogis who seek material success in mystic power are all restless. And ultimately they are baffled. But the devotee who does not expect any personal benefit and whose only ambition is to spread the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is blessed with all the auspicious results of Bhakti Yoga without hard labor. So this is the benefit, one major benefit of becoming a devotee. It's all auspicious. The results are auspicious. The path is auspicious. The process is auspicious. Everything is wonderful in Bhakti Yoga. So, okay, the last shloka is there, so I'll complete that. And just go to the translation. In human society, there are various activities performed for the protection of one's will and life by one's words, one's mind, and one's actions. But they are all performed for one's personal or extended sense gratification with reference to the body. All these activities are baffled because of being separate from devotion service. But when the same activities are performed for the satisfaction of the Lord, the beneficial results are distributed to everyone, just as water poured on the root of a tree is distributed throughout the entire tree. This is the distinction between materialistic activities and activities performed in Krishna consciousness. The entire world is active, and this includes the karmis, the jnanis, the yogis, and the bhaktas. However, all activities except those of the bhaktas, the devotees, end in bafflement and waste of time and energy. No matter what we do, it just ends in nothing actually. Moghasha mogha karmanu mogha jnana vichetas. If one is not a devotee, his hopes, his activities, and his knowledge are all baffled. A non-devotee works for his personal sense gratification or for the sense gratification of his family, society, community, or nation. But because all such activities are separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they're considered asat. Asat means temporary. Yeah. The word asat means bad or temporary, and sat means permanent and good. Activities performed for the satisfaction of Krishna are permanent and good, but asat activity, although sometimes celebrated as philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, thisism or thatism, it will never produce any permanent result and is therefore all bad because it's just wastage of time and energy. Even a little work done in Krishna consciousness is a permanent asset and is all good because it is done for Krishna, the all good Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everyone's friend. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only enjoyer and proprietor of everything. Therefore, any activity performed for the Supreme Lord is permanent. As a result of such activities, the performer is immediately recognized. Such a devotee, because of full knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is immediately transcendental, although he may superficially appear to be engaged in materialistic activities. The only distinction between materialistic activity and spiritual activity is that material activity is performed only to satisfy one's own senses, whereas spiritual activity is meant to satisfy the transcendental senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By spiritual activity, everyone factually benefits, whereas by materialistic activity, no one benefits, and instead one becomes more entangled in the laws of karma. It's a huge difference between materialistic and spiritual activities. Both might look the same. Devotees also have to deal with money and power and whatever, cars, buildings, but their purpose is to serve the Lord. And karmis, they also deal with all these things, but their purpose is, I want to exploit these energies because their purpose is, everything should be used in my service. If I have money, everybody should know I have so much of money and they should respect me, and I'm going to use this money for my own sake. But devotees, they want to use money, but in the service of Krishna. Big difference. So spiritual activity liberates us, or activity more than the activity is the consciousness with which we are doing the activity. So see here, demons and demigods, they did the same activity, churning of the ocean of milk to get the nectar. But purpose was different. Devotee or demigods, they wanted to get the nectar so they could defeat demons and serve the Lord. And demons wanted to get the nectar so they could defeat demigods and enjoy. Big difference. So anyway, so thus ends the 9th chapter of 8th canto. The Lord incarnates as Mohini Murti. And tomorrow we will start the 10th chapter, the battle between the demigods and the demons. Hare Krishna. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I was just reading that in one of the verse, it mentioned that when they lined up the demons and the god on each side, they have offered some flour and some incense stick. It mentioned, I think, incense, not the stick, incense aroma or something. At that time also there was some incense thing was there. Maybe some herbal or something they were using at that time.
Yeah, well, incense is always there, but pure. Like when Krishna was there, they used to use aguru. Aguru is considered very fragrant. So similarly, yes, these are all parts of worship of the Lord.
Yeah.
Not the way that we get these days.
Now it's all mixed. No one will get a duplicate one.
Yeah, that time, yes, everything was pure.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.